Welcome to Pink Culture Talks. My name is Sandra BK,
Hey, this is Ram BK.
and today we're going to talk about building a multi-million dollar empire, toxic relationships, and the sacrifice you make. So, Ram, let's start off with actually your origin story, because your origin story involves a sacrifice, and I feel like that's one of the first ones. It's a great place to start.
So, I am from Nepal, so I'm really far away from home right now. So here, born in Nepal. So when I was growing up, in my culture is the belief in the family. It always has to have a son in the family, and my first brother who's born, and I never seen him, and he was infant when he died. And right after him, and my sister got birth, and my sister is 3 years old, which is not really that much of difference between her and me, but the knowing a culture, knowing my parents, like they're like so afraid they're not gonna have a son, and they pray for this god, it's a Kali Mata, and ask for, will sacrifice this if you give it to me, if you give me the birth of the son, and that's how I know that I got born.
So, your parents wanted to have a son. In your culture, it's very important to have a son.
It's
And
very
they
yeah.
said to the divine feminine goddess, Kali, if you give us a son, we will make a sacrifice
Yep.
to you. And
Hmm.
what was the sacrifice?
Sacrifice was when they, how do you say it, when you, I guess when you ask for the god to be, you give me the son and I'll sacrifice them. When my son gets 18 years old, no, 12 years old, he's gonna carry the black male, the virgin male goat, uh, to bring to the temple when sacrifice. But I have to carry that.
So, you had to carry the black goat when
Yeah,
you were 12.
yeah.
Well, I know this story, so I think it's super interesting. Why don't you talk about it? What happened? What was that? How did you make that sacrifice?
So I mean, I have it here and there, remember, but I was 12 years old, and after the sacrifice, um, after the ask for the God and child were born, and that had to protect me for left and right, everything's,
It
and
had to
when I was,
protect you?
yeah,
Why?
because I didn't get hurt, and like it's my grandfather. As soon as I was born, my grandfather was a salmon, so Simon, how do you say
Shaman.
shaman? Yeah,
Shaman.
and he put me, he says he put me in the lap of the god that does not, I don't know, some sort of protection for me. It's like it doesn't get hurt or doesn't get any type of uh like a the injure, or like a, like it's anything pretty much to be protected from those things. And when I was 12, and I carry the goat and the temple, and I was the only person allowed to go, and I met it up and the sacrifice the goat, and I ate the meat.
Oh, you sacrificed the goat and then you ate the goat meat.
Yeah.
Okay. So you started your life journey with a sacrifice, and your parents did that, and they got something great out of it. And then fast forward to, we talk about building our business and the sacrifice that we had to make to build this multi-million dollar empire. And I say that because I know in my experience, I've always known that when you give something out, you get something back if you believe in it.
Yep.
So, talk about how we started BK Adventure, that original sacrifice.
It was a black beauty.
Again, a black beauty like
Yep.
Kali.
I had a really beautiful Jeep. I was like, I was in loving with the Jeep because I don't know, I like boxy vehicles, and that Jeep was just came out the market, and I got a job. I
We'll
had a
talk
really,
about it. It was the
yeah,
Dragon. It was
yeah,
the Dragon edition
auditions.
that was made for the 2015 World Fair.
2014.
But the Jeep was a 2014, but it was made for the World's Fair
Yeah,
in
first
China.
in China. Yeah, it was extremely beautiful Jeep, and the dragon inside. dragon raft outside is a golden rims with the black rim with the golden trim.
Even the
So
inside,
yeah,
like the interior, had this beautiful dragon thing on it.
everything
It
was
said
like a
Dragon
very
Edition.
fine made and like a really beautiful Jeep. And I was working at the time in Forever, Florida. I was offered, well, I can make enough money to pay that. Uh, so when I was laid off from the company, I worked and I had to sacrifice that Jeep to make the big adventure go. But
Well, talk about that. Like, how did you? What was the process?
so it's a pro. That was
So
it
you
was
show up with your Jeep.
it's really hard. So when we started this company, the BK Adventure, when we going to start the BK Adventure, because yeah, we make the Facebook, Instagram, all kinds of things. My wife is doing a website and all of those things. At the end of the day, the tools that we need to do the what for the tours, and we didn't have that,
Which was
and
a
my
van. We
is it
needed a
we
12
we needed a
passenger
van, and
van.
then we went. I went, took my Jeep, and asked for the trade in. So as I'm there talking to selling these vehicles, and they took my Jeep, and I sitting there doing a paperwork. As I'm doing paperwork, they sold the Jeep right then, because at the time that Jeep was the really 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 rare and popular one, and they sold the Jeep, and I saw the guy like, hey, you just sold my Jeep, like yeah, because you're getting van, so we already have the Jeep. I'm like okay, and it took me. I went there around 10 o'clock in the morning. To we stay there. I stayed there for until 12 midnight, and I did every single paperwork and all of those things. And the final was insurance, and they never even mentioned to me about that. And when I tried to get the insurance, and they told me I need to get a commercial insurance because it was a 12 passenger van. I was like, it's a lot, and I said there, done that. I don't know, somehow they made it happen. Uh, and I brought the van is the midnight back.
So, like you said, you saw the guy driving away
Yeah,
with your Jeep. Like, how did that feel?
I mean,
Did you feel the
it does
sacrifice at
feel,
that
yeah,
point?
it is. I mean, that was my Jeep, and it was a painful moment to go away, and it was a very, like it's not even that, like it's to me, it's a coming from where I came from to having a there's such a beautiful luxury vehicles and driving around is it feel I was feeling the moment and I had to give it up. And I not wanting to give it up, it took it out front of my eyes. And I felt like I did give up my power and give up my ego, and it was a different feeling. It's
And
like
let
it's
your Jeep go.
yeah,
That was really one of the first really nice
yeah.
cars that you ever bought for yourself.
I mean,
So
yeah,
I remember that. And you know, speaking of kind of, I started this off with, I always knew, even before I met you and before I went to Nepal, because I had owned businesses too, that if you give that sacrifice out and you believe in what you're doing, the universe will send it back to you. It's almost like the energy of going, I believe in myself so much, or I believe in this business, this idea that I've been inspired to do so much that I am willing to give this thing up to prove that I believe in that. And it comes back to you. And that's kind of how I started my relationship with you before we started our first businesses in Nepal, our tourism businesses, is I ended up giving up everything in my life, everything that I had worked
yeah,
for up until the time that I had gone to Nepal, and even the point of sort of giving up my education, because even though I had master's degrees and things like that, once I got in Nepal and I was doing business there, like that, none of that mattered. So I really had to give up that idea of, oh, I'm sort of educated in this way and that's what this means. I really had to give up that, and also my identity. I sort of sacrificed that identity because I was a very well-known anime director and producer, and I sacrificed that idea of who I was to become somebody new and to become part of these businesses that we had in Nepal, and then also to become your wife and to be the family that we became. So again, it
what
was
was
like
the
I had
reason
to.
you traveled to Nepal?
Well, the reason I traveled to Nepal was I was working on a documentary about girls that were being trafficked there, and then also I wanted to get this PhD in religious studies, and so I knew that Nepal was a Hindu Buddhist country, and that's very special. Like there aren't a lot of countries that are very blended with religion that way. So I thought, okay, I can really learn a lot about what I'm trying to do, and then write my entrance essay to Rice University where I was applying and all of that. So that was the reason that I originally went to Nepal. I had no intention on, giving up a career and all of those things and then going, I'm going to plant myself here. And this is the family that I have. But it's similar to your story
Yeah,
because I had to make that sacrifice to get, my two beautiful boys that I have now, our sons. So it all kind of comes along with like the universe kind of saying, you know what, universe, I believe in something greater and bigger than this, and I'm gonna give it up to get what I think is that next step.
yeah,
And you will never get where you're going unless you're willing to make that sacrifice, whatever it
yeah. It
is.
is. Sacrifice is such a. I mean, the two things is like I always say this way: it's sacrifice and complacement, and then the sacrifice is makes you move forward in your life and keep doing it, keep moving it. You have when you
But you'll
put
get the
in believe,
blessing of
yeah.
it.
When you do be a complacement, so example for them, I put it that complacement word is like a just randomly because since I moved out from my country to in this country, and I was
So you
continue to the
moved from
work
Nepal to the
to the United
USA.
USA.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a 12 of my friend was died because what happened is yeah it's a poverty, one of them is a poverty, another one is the complacent of their life because they never thought they're going to go more further in their life because they couldn't sacrifice in their life to make it happen that all they did and they sacrificed their life drinking alcohol. So it's like it was the one point of my life as I was like it's what the heck is just going on? And my mom called me every other month, like this person did, that person did, that person did, and it is it's really crazy things. And if I haven't sacrificed of my life to move forward, whatever I have is done to aggressively move forward, I will have not. I would say probably not would be alive.
Well,
So
speaking of that, yeah, I think that that goes along, and people don't talk about this a lot as a sacrifice, but when you're doing business or you're trying to get ahead, whatever you're doing, there's that risk. And the risk is sometimes a sacrifice, whether it's money, it's your time, it's I'm giving up my place, like you're giving up your comfort of living in Nepal, the
yeah,
comfort of your own culture, and then moving to a land that you have no familiarity with. And
and
so
especially try to open a new business the place to I travel and I came here like I have no idea of how to this culture. I was actually really culture shocked. And then I have no idea. And I didn't even know how to speak language is a proper way. Yeah, I was living with my wife, even she is born here. She was an English speaker. To me, it was like I had a language is like I was talking to the tourists. They're just so long in my life. I thought I was still talking to tourists. So, and it's now I should feel that I'm actually our person from here because I adopted and I sacrifices my culture. I'm like here now. It's like you know what? I gotta do this.
yeah, so I mean, let's talk a little bit about that, the way that in any business, but like definitely with BK Adventure, you had to take a step back. I remember in the beginning you were going to hotels and sort of passing out flyers and doing, basically what, the lowest job would be. It's like you're starting up. And it's
Yeah,
been my experience that when you start a business, you have to be able to, no matter how successful you were prior to starting that one. So let's say you had one before, when you start the new one, you take all the steps back. You're no longer in I'm big boss mode. You're I'm the lowest man on the totem pole in this startup because I'm the only man
Yeah.
doing this or woman doing this. And so you actually went around and
Yeah, I
passed out
did.
flyers.
I
And
did. I mean, when I started the BK Adventure, she was doing all the internet online side of it, like writing doing social media, making the all the websites and everything. And I'm carrying with my small penny pack and putting all my flyer and brochures and everything, and the walking inside the like this like it's $100 million um resort, and to convince them to, can you actually give it out to my flyer and brochure. And some of the time I got pushed out from the hotel too, so there's a lot of
you
history
got
in the
pushed
back.
out from the hotel.
Yeah.
So
So
let's talk about that. What kind of sacrifice did you feel that was? Getting
I
pushed
mean,
out.
so it was a beautiful hotel, and I drive, and I don't remember the name. It was beautiful. I walked in there, and went to the concierge like, hey, can you give out our things? So give out our brochure here, and because we do this, and I'm telling them everything what I do, and what if with my ability to say whatever I can say. And actually, the concierge was nice, and she said, "Oh, the I will call the manager. You can talk to him." And the manager come in. He told me, "You're not allowed to do that." So he was really being aggressive to me. Like, I didn't push with the physically, but he kicked me out from the property. So I'm in like a hotel,
You're fired.
yeah, and then I went outside. So I sit there on the van, and I reserve,
In this van that
yeah,
you worked so hard to get,
worked
and
so
you
hard. I have all
gave up your
plastered,
black Jeep for.
and I plastered everything, and I booked the hotel, and I went inside and put the flyer, because when I'm guest for them and they can't do anything to me. And I went back and I literally handed to my flyer to the concierge. Now that I'm the guest here, I'm just coming to do this, and I walked away. So
But
it was a painful moment to people.
you have
Yeah,
to, not only did you have to give up some money to get into the hotel, but you have to kind of sacrifice your ego in those moments as well. So I wanted to talk about that ego sacrifice we make to get somewhere, get to a higher place, whether it's in business or anything in life. And so fast forward from there to 10 years, and BK Adventure is making it. It's a multi-million-dollar company. If you would have told either of us when you sacrificed that black Jeep, just sacrifice the black Jeep and you will make millions of dollars on kayaking tours, I would have been like, I would have thought it was too crazy to actually make the
so
sacrifice, and I would have said
actually,
no.
I have a friend, the Thomas William, that lives down the road. So he walks into my office the one day. I saw him in my place and everything. He says, I should have been partner with you that day.
Did you ask him to
I
be a
did.
partner?
I did. I asked him, hey, do you want my partner? I'm doing a kayak tour company. So he can ask him. Like, I literally asked him for the partner to him. And he said, no, I mean, like, he doesn't have time. He was not nice about it, but I was telling him, like, all this dream, like, it's what we can do, all that things. Like, it's dream that, look,
Honestly,
what I can do.
speaking about sacrifice and belief and believing in yourself, I know when that started, a lot of people didn't believe in you. I remember that. A lot of people thought this isn't gonna work and whatever. But to be fair, thinking you could make millions of dollars on kayaking tours, it seemed unreal. It seemed unreal, and I don't even think we thought.
Yeah, but I mean, I think I have a great hand of my wife. So I mean, even we had a lot of sacrifice going through it, but the one thing that I have is win is your partner. When you have a best team working together, like we always call ourselves like a brain and brunch,
Brain and
and brunch together, brunch.
Brains, brawn.
Yeah, we call that, and
With
I
a brawn.
think we actually proved that, because on all those sacrifice, all things that we did in our life, and we're here sitting in front of the camera talking about we own this $1 million company. Actually, I don't own, but yes, we own this $1 million company together. And end of the day, and bam, here we go again. I have to sacrifice again. So that was my
Well,
life.
let's talk about that. So we're going on, we're making these millions of dollars. You go from zero to hero, right? You go from, I started out in poverty in one of the poorest countries in the world, and with nothing, and in the lowest caste, and now I'm a millionaire and
I'm
doing
actually,
adventure tourism, which is fun. It's like super fun, right?
yeah,
And so then we and then along this time, I mean, we have all the tensions of normal marriage and whatever, but we also
yep.
have addiction and alcoholism coming into play, which we're going to talk about in the next episode. But it culminates into, you're in a lawsuit, and now you've got to sacrifice again to save
Mm, yeah,
everything.
yeah. We are like a work on years and years put together as a being a man from the culture, the coming from Hindu culture, uh, and Nepal, which is really it's like a male dominated country. They come here and did work, did make it. I did everything, made it happen. And the end of the day, here I am. I got in lawsuit, and I have to write down, sign up everything to my wife. That's painful because yeah, but that's a sacrifice.
Talk
But
about it though. Like,
it's
how did
really
you make that decision to go? Because I know your whole ego was wrapped around, I made it. I made it out of here. You talked about your friends back in the village that didn't make it, and they didn't even make it through life. They only made it till around age 30. And you're going, okay, how do I decide everything that I identify with? I have to give that up. I can't be this guy anymore.
it is extremely painful of doing that. But here's the choice of in your hand, like just like a example of Black Sheep versus the BK Adventure. And the right now it's like I have my family versus my lawsuit. So and that sacrifice, I had a faith on it, and I give up that to made my family together, and here we are right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that if you would not have made that sacrifice, I'm not sure we could have saved
No,
the company. Um, and these are the things you have to do. And I know that we're not the only couple that has said, okay, we need to we came into this thing as partners, but one or the other has to become the sole member, or whatever, however you're incorporated.
yeah,
It's a strategic decision, and it's hard only because of the ego death of the person who has to give it up, right? Otherwise it's logical. And
yeah,
so
and then
that's
like
what
it,
people have to be able to sacrifice
yeah,
to make it in a lot of things, and even to make it in the relationship.
it is. And the end of the day, I learned it's a lot of things in my life. It's everything is not about what you have. It's everything is what you do. And I feel like it's what I sacrificed and what did I did in my life. I made me a better person, and I have everything what I want, and I have beautiful family, and I think it's worth it for every penny of the sacrifice.
Yeah, so next time we're going to talk about giving something up, but in a different way. Another thing that you gave up that turned into a blessing, and that was giving up alcohol.
Yeah, we
So,
did. We give up alcohol, so it's actually one of the best thing I ever done in my life. The I think my father died from there, so we go over those type of things. There's a lot of things in my life has been through it. It's like it's a big landslide. So I don't know how to describe that.
the event was a landslide. So next time we're going to talk about how giving up alcohol and kicking addiction also saved us. It was a blessing. And we went from being a toxic relationship and toxic, literally toxic people because we were drinking so much
Yeah.
to becoming something much better. So
Yeah.
that's for next time. So please join us again for Pink Culture Talks. And thank you, Ron, for your stories.
Thank you.